Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rogers Kakasungura YouTube channel. A big thank you for the support you are granting this platform. Governments rarely admit their failures. As much as the government fails, they try as they can to defend themselves against the failure. It's very rare to find, for example, the president admitting that as a country we have failed. It is rare to find a cabinet secretary admitting that as a government we have failed. But this time round, the CS Interior, Kipchumba Murkomen, is publicly admitting that the government of the Republic of Kenya, especially the National Intelligence Department, failed Kenyans terribly. Why is he saying so? He believes that the government did not take time. The government was insensitive to some issues that were happening at that particular time. Ladies and gentlemen, can we listen to Kipchumba Murkomen? And I want you to be very sensitive to what he's talking about. And then from there, I am coming back for more details. And this is Kipchumba Murkomen.
In the next financial year, we need to have a particular budget for closing Shakahola. Based on my briefing I've received here, I really think that there is need for a one-off budget that takes care of both collection of information, of samples, but most importantly, in terms of final leg, in terms of investigation, but also what to do with the people who are unable to come forward. We are unable to get DNA samples. What do we do with the site? You know, can we make it a memorial site for remembrance of these victims of, unfortunately, religious extremism and radicalization, and therefore so that it can become a place where it will remind us about our failures as a society to protect those who are victims of radicalization and religious extremism. Whether there was any acts of omission or commission on the part of the security apparatus and administration team is a matter that has not really been established. So the question is basically for us to get indeed whether there were people who are specifically culpable. Because, you know, when people say we have gone to pray, yeah, sometimes we, especially in a religious country like ours, people usually leave people and say, they are praying. Why do you disturb people who are fasting and praying? And you know, we have many sites in Kenya where people go pray and fast. So perhaps there was a lapse from that 2020, 2021 until the time we came into office and these issues were investigated. So I do not want to cast aspersions on those who served that time until we have proper evidence. However, because government is a going concern and it operates in perpetuity, like my predecessor, the deputy president, said before, this is regrettable and this is an indictment on the part of government, you know, as a whole. It is something that should not happen in a country that has so many security apparatus, either whether somebody received intelligence information from the ground and maybe never acted on it, or we must own up as a government that this is a failure on our part, that we can lose over 500 people when we have a government that whose responsibility is to protect its own people. So to that extent, I can say without fear of contradiction that it was a failure of monumental proposition on the part of us as a country and as a nation that we failed. And this is not just those who are running government. It's also a failure on the part of citizens, because we are not becoming, like the Bible says, we are not becoming our neighbors, good neighbors, looking after each other, because we allowed our loved ones just to go for prayers forever, never looked for them. It's even worse that fewer people from society very few people are complaining about losing somebody or so. Meaning that there are so many people in Kenya that are actually lost from their villages, from their families, and they are forgotten. Because even in this situation, because of the small number of people who came out, it's point.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shakahola came at a time when William Ruto was the president. And this Shakahola was said to be a cult led by Mackenzie. But I fail to understand. And this is the question that we want Murkomen to respond to, but luckily enough, today he has answered them. I have been waiting answers from the government, but I thank God it has come out clear that the Kenya Kwanza government cares less about humanity. How come NIS could not smell that there is something wrong somewhere? How come? These things were done. By the way, there's something you should know. You can't hide in this country. If the government decides, ndio maana Waswahili wakasema serikali iko na mkono mrefu. Huo mkono mrefu inamaanisha nini? If the government wants you, there is nowhere within the territories of the Republic of Kenya that you can hide. Not even in the forest. The bushes you see around, the forests you see around, they are monitored by the government. Wewe unapata mwili, mtu aliuliwa, mwili katupa Kodera Forest, huko katikati. Lakini serikali inatafuta paka inampata. How? Lakini the government was unable to bring out Mackenzie. Then we ask ourselves, kweli vile Mungu anaishi, is it true that Mackenzie was operating alone? Is it true that there was no hand, powerful hand behind Mackenzie? They have refused to release him. But is Shakahola really the Mackenzie alone? The government failed and it has failed. And I love how Murkomen puts it. And the admission is crystal clear. Ladies and gentlemen, I have always believed, and I will still believe it. Mackenzie is a small fish in that whole scenario. Mackenzie is a small fish. They are bigger fish that if their names are mentioned, you'll be surprised. Hata kwa dawa za kulevya, hata kwa mihadarati, tule tusamaki tundogo ndio tunashikwa. Lakini samaki nyangumi wako mahali wameketi na wanakula wakicheka. So, since that time, the government has never come out clear to tell us exactly what happened in Shakahola. It's now forgotten history. No one remembers about it. And that is your country, Kenya. Finally, William Ruto completely failed Kenyans, period.